So I have so many students, and I'm so grateful for every single one of them who give back to the community and teach. Not all of the students who teach are millionaires. In fact, a lot of the students who are coming up and they've made hundreds of thousands of dollars share some of the best tips. I know everyone always thinks, oh, you have to be a millionaire. Not true. Some students trade part-time, some students trade with smaller size, and I think that you can learn a lot from even non-millionaire students. One such student is Ellis. He's also a former NFL player, so he knows a lot about, work ethic and discipline, and I think that he gives a great presentation. That's why I had him on my virtual summit. He's talking about his work ethic, he's talking about the lessons, and I want you to pay attention to this presentation. Take notes. The market is not just always about making millions of dollars. It's about using your skill set, using your strengths, recognizing your weaknesses, and making the market work for you and your family. So Ellis does a great job explaining what he sees in the market, his tips, his lessons. Pay attention, take notes. Thank Ellis in the comments for sharing so much useful information.
Anytime I do my webinars, so you can see my face, anytime I do my webinars, I really get excited about meeting new people, right? And here's the thing. How can I put this to you guys? It's not about the trading. It's not about football. It's not about art. It's not about being a doctor. It's not about being a lawyer. It's about a commitment to a process, and you are willing to put yourself through circumstances that you know inevitably will get you to where you want to go in life to be successful, right? And so when you're able to do that again and again and again in multiple spaces, the next time that challenge arises within any world that you're in, you start to reflect upon the things that you've done before to push you forward, to put wind in your sails. So for example, because of my failures, I have my successes. And I know that seems counterintuitive, right? But with each failure, there's clues that are given to help me be successful the next time. So many times we look at success in this grand scheme of cyclical, that it's going to happen all the time, right? And what we forget is that there's a little bit of success here, there's a step back here, there's a big step back, only to leap forward. So if we keep that projectile focus of understanding that this is not only going to help me now, but in the future, you can be successful at anything, right? And so I always want to encourage each and every one of you, regardless of your career in trading, or even if you want to proceed moving forward, just understand whatever you want to do at a high level, it is going to require the work. Cool? Awesome with that? So if you guys give me a moment, I'm going to share my screen. I want to talk to you guys about who I am, what I've been through, where I'm at today, and where I'm going, and how we can get you there. And it's not just me. It is collectively as a team. It is collectively as people who have failed over and over again at this. I'll be the first one to raise my hand. I literally started my trading career the first 2.5, 3 years trading, losing constantly. My success win rate was about 30%. And I was down about $40,000 to $45,000, right? And so a lot of people come back and say, oh, Ellis, well, you played in the NFL. You have the guys, listen, I had a ridiculous burn rate when it came to playing in the NFL. Just being young, didn't really understand money. As Trey mentioned, I had a big family. I was trying to provide for them. My career was literally taken. How many of you guys can attest to just a life-changing event happening in your life that you did not expect, and now you're trying to figure things out? You're trying to figure out what is the next situation? What is going to happen tomorrow? Like, I have no clue. Well, that was me for quite some time, guys. So imagine the stress that I was feeling while I was trying to trade, while I'm trying to learn how to trade, while I have a job. That's why I don't really tolerate a lot of people who come at me with excuse after excuse after excuse, because similar to what Trey said, I did feel like I was behind the 8 ball, right? But what I did was I leaned back on the receipts that I had. I leaned back on previous success, and I willed my way to say, you know what? If they can do it, so can I. So the community that I encircled myself with amongst the Tim Sykes Challenge Room is what helped propel me to the next level. So the first thing I want to introduce is myself. Obviously, Trey gave me a wonderful introduction, but yes, I did play for the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. I started my career my entire career as a defensive back. Unfortunately, my career ended with paralysis. I broke my neck in 2009. I ended up having a C6, C7 surgery that repaired my neck. I have a titanium plate on the left side of my vertebrae. Unfortunately, that left me sustainable to another neck injury. And so the following year, on Sunday Night Football, I ended up breaking my neck again, my C3, C4. And so again, that was my tragic moment. But guys, I don't like to get enamored into that. As a matter of fact, I don't even like to show it anymore because so many people get focused in on it. Take that out and put in your blank, whatever that is, because we all have one. We all have a disappointment. We all have some sort of tragedy, whether it be mental, psychological, physical, spiritual, even. It's something that is going to allow us to make a pivotal decision, whether left or right, whether right or wrong. It is up to us. But what that did was lead me to an entirely different space. So in 2016, I actually wrote my letter to the Timothy Sykes group. And then that's what ended up getting me into the challenge. And so at that point in time, I'm thinking like, all right, I got it, 2016. I'm going to make this money. I'm just clicking buttons. It's as easy as this. Boom. Slowly but surely for the next 2.5, 3 years, I was just draining my account, trade after trade. Every time I clicked the button, I didn't know if the trade was going to go up, down, left, right, sideways. I'm sweating. When I'm going into the weekend, I just want to sleep. I'm depressed. I'm not even telling my family, my kids what I'm doing. Like, it is so saddening and pathetic considering where I was at success that I just felt like it was too much. But what I was not doing all along was that I was not connecting this world of trading to other worlds of success. Guys, let me ask you a question. If you were to be a doctor, and I don't know what everybody is, if you want to, you can give me your profession, but just think about the profession that you're currently in or that you were in. Would you ever just walk into a room? Let's just say you were a doctor, right? Or a lawyer. Would you ever walk into a room of an operating table and with no experience at all, grab the scalpel, put a mask on and say, hey boys, I got it from here. I'm going to do this open heart surgery. I'm gonna bring this patient back to life, and we're gonna be successful with this. And then do that day after day after day. Now, that sounds completely ridiculous, but that's literally how people go into the market. That is how I went into the market. Day after day after day after day, I went in with no sort of awareness, no sort of education, no sort of plan of execution, and I got the results that I deserved. That is 90+% of the market. That is why it is so scary when you hear that failure rate of 90+%, because what they're omitting is the lack of process, the lack of education, right? But when I finally got my act together and I started to lean into the educational tools, lean into the community, lean into the mentorship, I ended up making what I lost back in 2.5, 3 months. So you talk about 2.5 years of failure, 3 years of failure, got the lessons, applied the information, and now we're going in the right direction in less than 2.5, 3 months. Now, clap, clap, bravo, bravo, right? I ended up losing it again. I got up about $25,000 and I lost it again. But the difference is that I knew what I was doing with the plan and the process. And so I started to work my way from there in 2019, ended up making $25,000. And then I really got my act together once COVID hit, the volume came in, and then things just went skyrocket, right? And so that's what trading's all about. Seeing the moves, what they are, seeing the setups, and understanding that the right time, right place with the execution of plan and process, right? But all of this being said, this is why I do what I do. This is my why. And so this has to be the catalyst. The money is what it is, guys. I can ask each and every one of you, Viviana, Miss Anna, who else? Paulina, Harriet, Marlene. I can ask each and every one of you guys, how much money do you want and what is your number, right? And each and every one of us has a number, whether it be $500 a week, $10,000, whatever it is, right? But the question after that is, then what? You make the money and then what? And my point of that is that I assure you, whatever money you're going to make, you're going to want to make more, and it's not going to be enough. And so your why has to be beyond the financial resources, because on those days when you lose, or those days when you don't feel like pushing forward, there has to be an external force that is driving you, that wants you to succeed. And if you're not tapped into that, guys, you're going to fail each and every time. I don't care what the amount of money is. I've been to the highest of the mountains. I've been to the lowest of the mountains. And this has always been my sustaining force, my why. It may not be your family. It may be a friend. It may be that coach. It may be a mentor, whatever it is. Find that external why before you decide to become a trader or really do anything in life of pursuit of success, okay? Promise me that. So now, I want to give you a truth. This is the truth. This is 100% proven. You are not coming into this room with guessing. You are not coming into this room of, I don't know if this will work for me. You are not coming into this room saying, hey, who has done this multiple times over and over again? I can't even keep up with the amount of success now of the millionaire students, but there's literally 40, 50 plus, hundreds, thousands of dollars students, right? Successful students who are way on their way. But the one thing I can assure you guys, and don't take this the wrong way when I say this, my name means more to me than talking to you. And what I mean by that is, I'm not going to sit here and put my name on the line on a lie. I'm not going to sit here and put my name on the line when you can just easily Google me. You can easily reach out to see who I am. And now I have a proof of concept that is false. And lastly, within that, I did it myself. I never push for anything that I either have not done myself or that I have not seen work for myself. And so when it is 100% proven, it is 100% proven. The Tim Sykes Trading Challenge is 100% proven that it works, and it works consistently. Guys, I don't know how many chat rooms you guys have been in, but I've been in a few. They do not operate the same. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more in a second, but they all do not exist on the same playing field, right? So here's where the reality is of that. As much as I've said about myself, as much as I've talked about success, this and that, the success that you're going to eventually acquire if you apply the concepts and the information and willing to work, these are normal people. Do not get it misconstrued. Too many of people, and I'm pretty sure, again, I'll raise my hand, too many people go on social media, Twitter, and they see the dollar amounts, they see the value, and they believe that it's not for them. They believe that these are extraordinary people. Well, he's 21, he's 22. I just told you, I started when I was 33. We have plenty of other successful students that are older than me. Or he's too old. No, or just too young. I can't trade, I'm too young. Guys, people start at 18, 19 years old. Wherever you are in this life, that's what's so great about the markets. Wherever you are, that is your day one. It is not someday, eventually, one day when I get that. Today is day one. Whatever today is for you, that is day one of this journey. And if you have that perspective, then we can move forward. If you cannot grasp that concept, then I would just kindly ask you to leave the chat room, because you're wasting your time. And more importantly, you're wasting everybody else's time, because this is a space where someone else could be in to listen to what I'm talking about. Perspective, I just said it. Perspective. Too many times we defeat ourselves before we even start. Whether you believe you're right or whether you believe you're wrong, you're right. The belief that you can do this has to be within you. There are external forces, like I keep talking about. The chat room, success story after success story, your why, those things matter. But if you internally do not believe and have the right perspective, right? So let me give you an example. I can't do this versus it is a skill that I have yet to learn. It is two totally different things. Two totally different things. Reflect on the time that you thought that you couldn't make it through something, that you thought you couldn't do something. And now look back on that and say, man, how did I even conceptualize that I couldn't do this? We've all had to learn how to drive, right? I'm pretty sure we all didn't get behind the steering wheel and start off like a NASCAR driver. There was starting, there was stopping, there was braking. You didn't know the left from the right. You didn't know whether to click it up, click it down. But over time, as you did it over and over and over and over and over again, these things got very natural to you. That's what trading's about. Yes, you will go through the ups and downs, but the perspective is I'm learning along the way. I'm learning along the way. James Clear, I don't know if you guys know who this is, but James Clear, he wrote a book called Atomic Habits. Doing something the wrong way the first time is a mistake. Repeating that same exact thing again the wrong way becomes a habit. I'm going to say that again. Doing something the wrong way can be taken as a mistake. Doing something again the exact same wrong way again and again is now a habit. Now apply that negative perspective and reverse it to a positive perspective. Doing something the right way becomes something the right way. You'll get the result from that, right? Doing that twice the same way now can create a habit. And so when you're in the market, guys, take that concept with you. You are trying to create good habits. Good habits. You should never want to just get to the market and click the button and not understand how you made money. You should never want to click the button and understand how you didn't make money. Every time you click the button, you should understand exactly what's going on and how you got to the results that you got to. That perspective is going to keep you in line with being controlled with risk management and, more importantly, driving you to that force of success. So with that perspective, guys, I want to give you one last concept of perspective, right? And perception. Too many times we go into the market or we go into these chat rooms or we go wherever and we think like, okay, hot picks, hot alerts. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want, right? We want hot picks, hot alerts. We just want to click the button and go. So someone's trying to give you the stock that you should be trading, right? Which to some degree, that's not necessarily wrong. You want to focus your attention on the right ones, which I'll get to in a moment. But what if, again, perspective, what if there was a source that could show you what not to trade and why you shouldn't focus on that, right? Perspective. That's how I identify with the chat room. When I talk to students, when I'm doing my webinars, when I'm just talking through life, I'm looking for the things to avoid. Because if I can avoid those pitfalls, that's less energy, that's less stress, that's less money that I'm giving to something that wasn't right for me in the first place, right? So I know that everybody's gravitating towards, I don't know, stock A, B, C, D, but based on the criteria that we teach, based on the criteria that we're looking for to trade, that's not the right stock. I'm going to avoid that. That loss kept my mental equity safe, and more importantly, my bank account safe, and waiting for the right stock, right? So how many of you guys would prefer, instead of getting the right stock, you being shown what not to trade? I'll take that every day. Because if I come into the markets with zero, at zero, meaning my account balance stays the exact same, I literally just beat approximately 90% of the market because I didn't lose any money. So that's how I operate with that perspective. So what you're looking at is a daily watch list review. It doesn't really matter what the words are. I'm going to give you guys the general concept of what you're looking at. Students reach out with a watch list that they're given in this format, and then they give me each and every stock that they see from their vantage point of what they think is tradable and why. If you look to your far right, there's red lettering. Those are my comments as an instructor. I'm not telling you how to trade the stock. I'm simply telling you, here's why you should be looking at this. Here's why you should not be looking at it. With that feedback and information, sometimes it's in real time, sometimes it's not. But with that information, you can take it and apply it and start to study on your own and see, okay, I can see why we wouldn't trade this. I can see why we would trade this based on the volume, based on the history of the chart, based on multiple support levels, resistance levels. That type of detailed information is happening for students each and every day. So if I had to give you a value proposition beyond anything else, it is simply the fact of I am navigating the waters with you and putting you in a place of direction where you're going to start to focus on the right things. The best example I can give you of that is that all of us have driven a car, right? I talk about cars enough because I love cars. But we've all driven a car and we've all aspired to have a certain vehicle. How many of you guys have bought your favorite vehicle? Or not even your favorite vehicle. You just got a brand new car or a used brand new car, or what have you. And then all of a sudden, on the road, like magic, everybody has your car. It's the craziest thing. You just bought a brand new spanking F-150 Ford, and all of a sudden, all you see is F-150s everywhere. And you're like, where did all these F-150s come from? Those F-150s have been there. But because your focus is now on that, you're starting to become aware of all the other F-150s in the room. That is what trading is like. If we can get your focus narrowed on the right criteria with the right stocks, it literally starts to whittle out the minutia of the world of stocks. Guys, there are 8,000 plus stocks in the market. There is no way that you're going to be able to keep up with all of them. But as you start to tune in to the right criteria, the volume, the support, the resistance, the history, you start to see all of the distractions as null and void because it's simply not there. It's as if it doesn't exist, but you have to get there first with a process. So what does some of that process look like? I like to narrow this down into a recipe. If you want to take something down, if you want to screenshot something, you can do this. By all means, feel free to take this. This is a summary of how I trade and what I'm consistently looking for. It is the reason why I have existed for 8 years and is making money, whether it's a lot or a little, or losing just a little, or losing a lot and being able to get it all back. But I have not been in trading for 8 years this long without having success. And this is what it's based off of. And this here is nothing outside of what is going to be given to you should you join the challenge. The first question you should ask yourself, is the stock volatile now and has it had previous history of volatility in a short period of time, 1 to 5 days? We call those multi-day runners. Usually you want to find stocks 30%. I go 50% and higher on the day because that shows that volatility. But it's making new highs each and every day for a course of 2 to 3 days, right? Those are what we call multi-day runners. But it's not about just the green candles. There has to be volume behind the stock. And all volume is, guys, is somebody buying the stock and somebody selling the stock. Think about this concept, perspective. I cannot buy a stock and make money off of it if somebody is not willing to buy that stock higher. If I buy it at $1, I need it at $1.01 or $1.02 to make money, right? So you have to have buyers and sellers and a lot of them. We're trading penny stock. So when you're talking about a lot of volume, we're talking about in the millions, guys. If you want to give yourself a general number with $1 plus stocks in between $1 and $5, I would say anywhere generally between 10 million and up. 10 million in volume. And that volatility comes with it. So once those first two things are identified, is everybody following along? Once those first two things are identified, now you can figure out the support and the resistance. Without these first two things, it is going to be difficult to figure out support and resistance. So this is where I get the question, well, how do I know when to sell the stock? How do I know when to buy the stock? And the first question I ask, have you identified the criteria first that you need to buy the stock at the right levels? Well, no, I didn't know about multi-day runners. Then you can't figure out where to buy the stock. Well, how do I know if I need to sell it? Again, you have to put the horse before the cart. So once you figure that out, it starts to become very easy to identify the support, those levels that are basing out, the levels that where the stock has consistently broke out from the history of the stock or within the last 2 to 3 days of what we talked about.
How amazing was that? Ellis is so upfront and really useful, sharing his experiences openly to help you learn. We have such a gratitude, a debt of gratitude for him for sharing so openly. He doesn't have to do this, but he wants to. He wants to help others succeed. Some of you are in his weekly webinars for challenge students. If you're not in the challenge, click the link below, join the challenge, get weekly webinars from Ellis, from me, from Tim Grattani, from Jack Kellogg. It's kind of interesting because Ellis and I trade pretty conservatively, making a few $100s or a few $1,000s. Then you have Tim Grattani and Jack Kellogg, who once upon a time did just make a few $100 or a few $1,000. Now they're making $50,000 or $100,000 in a day. It's crazy. So you can learn from those of us who are conservative and then other traders who are aggressive, and you can try to find a happy medium. But do me a favor, thank Ellis in the comments below. He's such a great asset to the community, and we really owe him a lot.